Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today with CIMA. My name is Nahal and I'm part of the Student Success team here at Target Jobs. We're excited to be joined by representatives from CIMA who will be sharing about the world of the Finance Leadership Programme, CIMA's groundbreaking online route to obtaining the globally recognised CGMA designation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please pop them into the questions tab at the bottom right of the screen. Towards the end, our CIMA representatives will go through and answer your questions. For now, I'll hand it over to Antony to kick things off.
Great, thank you so much, and hi everyone. Thank you for joining. Great to see so many of you here today. What we're going to be talking about today is a groundbreaking route that we have introduced over the last 2 years in the UK, and it really has opened up a lot of opportunity for learners from all different backgrounds to go on and become fully qualified with CIMA, so to ultimately go on and become Chartered Global Management Accountants of the Institute. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're briefly going to introduce the overall CIMA qualification. So we have a sort of holistic overview of what we're going to be discussing. I'll then break down the Finance Leadership Programme and ultimately what it means and how it works, why you should choose it. We're then going to go a bit into what it looks like, the resources available, and ultimately go through a bit more about, how you might have different backgrounds, different have different work-life balances. Some of you may be working, some of you may not, different commitments, and ultimately how FLP, the Finance Leadership Programme, plays into that. And then we're going to be moving on and speaking with our special guest, Abhinav. So he'll be able to provide some really great insight into studying through the programme, and ultimately, how to be successful with that. So we'll have that Q&A towards the end. Now, if there are any questions, do feel free to put them in the chat. What I'm hoping is, as I go through the webinar, I will be able to answer a lot of your questions as we're going through it. So without further ado, I'm going to sort of briefly make an introduction to CIMA's qualification. So CIMA is the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and we have been going for just over 100 years. So we were founded in 1919, and we're the world's leading and largest professional body of management accountants with a relevant qualification for those looking for a career in business or finance. Now, what I'd really like to stress is it doesn't matter, if you're at college or university, it doesn't matter which, degrees that you're studying. It really doesn't matter. A lot of people think, you must be studying accounting or you must be, doing a finance qualification to study with us. And that isn't necessarily the case. Whilst people that are studying those, in those routes that are very strongly connected to our qualification, will be able to be exempt from a number of exams and be fast-tracked through, it doesn't mean that people that may be studying, history, geography, law, the sciences, we get a lot of people from business management backgrounds coming and studying with us. It's open to everybody, okay? We're a globally recognized qualification, so we've got networks of learners and qualified Chartered Global Management Accountants in about 188 countries across the globe. So if you are somebody that's not UK based, then there will definitely be networks in the country that you're from. Likewise, if you're somebody that is looking to work abroad as part of your career, then I would also stress that, there's the opportunity to, work in finance and accounting, near the beach in Dubai. We've got large cohorts of members in the US Australia, Asia, Southern Africa. So the world really is your oyster, and our qualification opens up a lot of doors. And just to build on that, we work with about 150,000 firms globally, and that is across all different sectors. So if you just have a think about, each company, and whether that be companies in different areas, they all need some element of finance staff that are able to, help them really drive profits, growth, sustainability. And they do look to people that are either studying through our qualification or people that are fully qualified, so our chartered accountants, to help them with these decisions and the day-to-day running of the businesses. Now, our qualification focuses on a very specific area of accounting, and the area of accounting that we focus on is management accounting, okay? So there's generally two types of accounting, and the two types of accounting are financial accounting, and that's what some of our competitors focus on. But we focus more on the area of management accounting. And management accounting is very forward-looking. It's very much about using information, using data to make business decisions, decision making, whether that be for your employer or whether that be for some of your clients, and really help them with their control functions and help them with the question of what next. So they'll be looking to you to help them really drive profits, growth, make the right business decisions, and you'll be qualified to ultimately say why. And that's what our qualification entails. Now, some questions that I do ask, if you're somebody that's interested in making business decisions, providing strategic advice, having financial expertise, but also focusing some of your softer skills, which our qualification framework focuses on. So leadership skills, managerial skills, your people skills, which are very important in the workplace. And the employers that we work with, the 150,000 or so employers, tell us what sort of soft skills they're looking for from somebody that's completed a CIMA qualification. And we really break it down and ensure that you've got those skills as part of completing the qualification. So you've got a well-rounded number of attributes. So when you join the workforce, whether that be in accounting, finance, the world of business, you're able to hit the ground running, and you really understand what is required, and you're at the top of your game, so to speak. Now, in terms of job roles and examples of what people do with our qualification once they become chartered, we've got people that are working as analysts, business partners, consultants, financial controllers, CEOs, CFOs, presidents. And what you'll recognize is that a lot of these job roles are quite senior in companies, okay? And it all comes down to the job roles on screen having some element of making business decisions, having to provide strategic advice in your day-to-day role. So if any of the job roles on screen interest you, or it's something that you can see yourself doing in your career, then I would definitely recommend the CIMA qualification. And also what we're going to be talking about today, the Finance Leadership Program as a study pathway. So there's two routes to becoming fully qualified with CIMA. We have our standard professional route that's been going for many decades. And then we've got our relatively new Finance Leadership Program. Now, whichever route you take, you do become fully CIMA qualified, and you get the CGMA, AICPA designations after that, and you can use them after your name once you become fully qualified, essentially. Now, the finance leadership program, as I mentioned, is relatively new. So in the UK, it's been around for about 2 years, and globally for about 4 to 5 years. And it is quite different to our traditional route, okay? So with our traditional route, it was made up of 16 exams over 4 levels. Now, with the finance leadership program, we've changed the way it works, and we're very much focused on continuous learning and assessment. And what that ultimately means is that whilst the framework and the topics and the learning you do is going to ultimately be the same, so regardless of route, so whichever pathway you pick, your knowledge will still be at the same level, because what we're doing is we're ensuring that you are understanding different topic areas. For the finance leadership program, there's only a maximum of 3 exams. And those 3 exams are case study exams. And what we mean by those are almost like synopsis, where you're focusing on or using the knowledge that you've gained from your online learning to answer essay-based questions on a fictitious company. And as you move through each level, it gets a bit more complex. So you move from perhaps being able to answer questions about more operational decisions day to day, right up to your strategic thinking, your strategic decisions that you may see, somebody that's part of a leadership board making. So maybe your CEOs, your CFOs, for example. And I mentioned that the 2 routes, the main difference is 16 exams versus 3 exams on the finance leadership program. The exams, well, I'd say the other 13 exams have ultimately been replaced by continuous learning as part of the finance leadership online platform that's available 24/7 and very flexible. So what we're really doing is breaking down what we've seen ultimately, a lot of barriers for people having to sit multiple exams over a year or 2, and especially with people that work full time, finding it very, in some cases, difficult to be able to commit to, in some cases having to sit 16 exams. So what we do is we say, hey, look, you move through the learning, you're answering questions as you go. The questions that you're answering online can be done, multiple times. They can be done at your own pace, and that they're not done within, shall we say, exam conditions. So they are open book, and it's more to really strengthen your knowledge. And it's when you come to sit each of the 3 case study exams where you're answering within exam time, so your 3 hours, and within exam conditions, so closed book exams. Okay. Now, ultimately, once you complete the exams, you gain 3 years of relevant practical experience. You then go on to become fully qualified with CIMA and get that CGMA designation. Okay. So ultimately, the finance leadership program is an alternative way to gaining the same qualification. So we've introduced it in the last few years, and it's very much focused on real world application, okay? Very much focusing on examples of, okay, you've learned a topic, what would it look like in the day-to-day world? What would you be expected if you was going to be working a job, in different areas, different job titles? How would you be expected to integrate that knowledge and be able to be successful? And then focusing on those skill areas, so your technical skills, your business skills, your digital skills, your people skills, your leadership skills. These are 5 main skill areas that employers tell us time and time again that they really look for people to have, especially those that are fully CIMA qualified. Now it's a self-paced curriculum, so it's down to you ultimately how long you take, and you can purchase the finance leadership program in 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year subscriptions. As I mentioned, you do need to sit up to 3 case study exams if you're starting right from the beginning of the finance leadership program. And we do say roughly it does take about 6 to 9 months to pass each level. So what we mean by that is about 6 months to do the learning and then 3 months to prep for your case study. Now, some people are quicker and some people are slower. That's absolutely fine. It's really down to you. As long as you've got an active subscription with us, you can study and sit the case study exams, okay? We also have 2 types of subscription with FLP. We've got your what we call Skills Plus, and Skills Plus is very much individual learning, where you're going through the materials at your own pace on the online platform, and purchasing maybe a year subscription and another year and seeing how you get on. Or we've got our FLP Skills Premium, which is included all the online platform and the learning materials, but also tuition with Kaplan tutors. So every few weeks you would have a class, an online class, which is generally in the evening time, with a cohort of students like yourself, and you'll go through certain materials, and you'll be expected to move through certain materials by the next class. So everybody within your class will be aiming for the same exam window, which may be in 6 to 9 months from when you begin the class, that respective class. Now, with the finance leadership program, the subscription fees that you pay include everything you need to go on to become complete your exams. So it includes your registration, your subscription, your learning materials, your exam fees. So it's all bundled up into one. And the beauty of it as well is that if you're, for whatever reason, not successful sitting your first case study exam, you do get a chance to sit again included within the fee that you pay, okay? So, that's essentially covered. And you can, in terms of paying, you can either have you can have employer sponsor you through and pay, or you can self-fund as well, which a lot of our learners do. So it's totally down to you how you wish to study for our qualification. Now, we've covered a lot of materials that's already on this slide, but I just wanted to mention that included within FLP, you get business simulations, which are ultimately focused on real world application. You can submit mock exams, which are included, and you can get graded mocks, so you get feedback, so you know where you're tracking before you sit the case study exams. And as I mentioned, the maximum number of exams you're going to be doing will always be 3. Now, for anybody that may be completing bachelor's or master's, or have got previous qualifications in the accounting or finance sphere, you may sit 2 exams or less. So it is a really great opportunity. And when you look at some of our competitors, this is definitely the lowest number of exams compared to some of the numbers that our competitors ask you to sit. So I would really stress that it really is designed for you to be able to study through and gain the full CIMA qualification whilst working full-time, home commitments. It really has the learner in mind. Now, in terms of the way it works, we really are focusing on various proficiencies and ensuring that when you're learning, you get the sort of real life information, and that you're able to become fully qualified and understand what different areas of work look like with our qualification. So with the case study exams, we have what we call knowledge checks and end of topic assessments. so the end of topic assessments, whilst they're quite they are open book, you do need to pass them before being able to move on, okay? And these are separate from the case study exams. And the same for the business simulations. You do need to go through them and make sure that you've passed them, you've understood the connection between the theory and you know, the real life that you would see, just so it shows that you've understood what you've learned ultimately, okay? Now on screen here, what you'll see is ultimately what the case studies look like. So the grey lines are each of the 3 case studies, and you do need to pass each case study before being able to move on to the next. And the reason for that is because it shows that you've assumed a certain amount of knowledge and you've been able to put it, answer exam questions on that. Now, as you move through our qualification, you do become what we call part qualified and get designations. So if you're starting from the beginning and sitting your first exam, which is the operational case study exam, you do get what we call the CIMA Diploma in Management Accounting once you pass that. So you get a hard copy certificate and the designatory letters CIMA Dip MA to use after your name. And as you move through and you go through the management level and the strategic level, it does supersede. So for example, management level, you then get the advanced diploma and the CIMA Advanced Dip MA, okay? Now our exams are available in about 6,000 test centers globally, or you can sit online from home if you've got a good internet connection. You can sit the case study exams in any one of 4 windows a year, so February, May, August, or November. And as long as you've completed the learning competencies for that respective level as part of the FLP platform, then that's absolutely fine. And you'll be able to then sit that case study exam. Now, as I mentioned, the case study exams are based on a fictitious company, and there's what we call pre-seen material that is available 6 weeks before each of the case study exams, where you're able to then focus on that specific company you're going to be answering questions about. Now, the case study exams are the same regardless if you're sitting via the finance leadership program or our traditional route, okay? So regardless of route, you always need to sit those same case study exams. Now, I mentioned sort of breakdown. For those with bachelor type degrees, qualifications, you can start at our operational level. So that ultimately means you don't need to go through the foundations. So the business and finance essentials, which is an online platform that focuses on 3 different topic areas, just so you can understand the real foundations of accounting. Now, on screen here, I've just broken down the main topic areas you're going to be focusing on as part of each level. And you'll see that it is really sort of broken down into different areas. So for example, operational level, you've got digital finance, management accounting, and then financial reporting and tax. The management level, you'll be looking at performance and project management, advanced management accounting, advanced financial reporting. And for our top level, you're looking at strategic management, risk management, financial strategy. So really focusing on those real high level business decisions. And once you complete each of the 3 topic areas, the learning for that, you also do get electronic certificates that you can keep for yourself and show any employers, either current or future. Now, I mentioned the 2 subscription types, so I'm not going to go through this again, but for those watching this back, or if you want to watch it back, you will be able to see that the main difference, whilst the difference in price, is that one includes online tuition and one doesn't. So that's the real difference. If you feel comfortable with silo learning, then we might recommend Skills Plus. But the best value really is our Skills Premium, which includes expert tutor support alongside all of your online learning materials. Now, in terms of the learning dashboard and what it really, what it really looks like, it is very user-friendly. So once you first log in, you've got a dashboard that really shows you where you've been, i.e. how far you've got and roughly how long it's going to take to complete each topic, which is really good because it helps with planning, right? Especially for people that have got very busy lives, and you might have a target in mind of sitting an exam in, say, 6 months. You'll be able to track where are you with that, what does that look like, and then any messages that may have popped up from CIMA, any updates will be able to be showing on this page, and also being able to access the learning competencies directly through the platform as well. Sorry about that. If some of you may have just seen my cat jump across the screen, it's one of the fun things about working from home. But where were we? So the learning competencies can be accessible through the online platform, all of your learning, scheduling your exams, submitting your mock exams, everything's available through this one platform, okay? You can access all of the materials directly through not just a laptop, so you can use it through phone, tablet, and it is accessible 24/7, okay? So I know some of the learners that I've spoken with, sometimes if they're traveling to work on a train or a bus, they access it through their tablets and their phones, okay, which is great as well. Likewise, sometimes people say, you know what, I've had a long day, going to get into bed, access it on my phone, move through the materials. So whatever it is, it really is allowing you to study wherever you are, as long as you've got an internet connection. We also provide all the resources you need. So we do webinars. You also got what we call a case study exam review course with a tutor. So what those are is really preparing you for the case study you're about to sit. And we've got a lot of support blogs, webinars on people that have been successful, passed, and really allows you to understand what the requirements are alongside your learning and mock exams. So what we're going to be doing now is a bit of a Q&A with our special guest. So Abhinav's on the call. And what we'll do after that is we will just go through some of the questions at the end, okay? Hi, Abhinav, how are you?
I'm doing really good, Anthony. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us. So you're currently studying via the Finance Leadership Program. If you don't mind, if you just give us a bit of background about, maybe your pathway and how you joined CIMA and then began on the route and how you're finding it.
Yeah, sure. Hi everybody, I'm Abhinav. So I did a master's in finance and accountancy from University of Leeds, after which I started working at Drax as a finance graduate, and I'm currently working in the FP&A team. So previously, the first exam, because I've done a master's in accountancy, if you have, like Anthony mentioned, if you have done any finance qualification, you definitely get exemptions for it. So I had a lot of exemptions. I had to only give the management level case study. So I gave that exam under the normal route. Sorry, I think I lost you there for a minute. So yeah, I gave that exam under the normal route, after which I was able to clear it on the first attempt, which is brilliant because of the exemptions. It became really easy to go through it. And then the work really got a bit hectic. So I decided to move to the FLP program. I feel FLP program is a lot more flexible and fluid, like you mentioned previously, and it just sits really well with my working time. So let's say today I have a couple of more hours to give to the study, so I can pretty much go to the material and sit and then give the time, while as maybe tomorrow I won't have the same amount of liberty to do that. So just gives you the right amount of flexibility you need as a professional. And along with that, I also feel it's a very beneficial platform, because I want to give one specific example, because I've been studying currently for my strategic level case exam. So I've been doing the financial policies bit, and I'm not really well versed with the futures and the options bit. So I had to give it a couple of times just to get a tick on it, just to get a pass on it. So just makes it more better, because I know where I'm lacking and I can go repeat it. Otherwise, if I just give a normal standard exam, I would still pass exam, but I still won't be better at futures and options. So this is something that really excited me about this program, this flexibility, and I can mend it how I want along with my professional life. So yeah.
Great, thank you so much. And do you have any colleagues working with you that have maybe come from other backgrounds, or that you know of that is also studying?
Yes, I do actually. I have a couple of colleagues who have done degrees of history of arts, or psychology, or sociology, computer science, and then they have gone on to enroll to CIMA. So it's just that I have previous finance knowledge, so I can proceed at a bit further pace, and while they can take their time, get the basic learning rights, and then proceed at their personal speed. So again, that's something which you already have mentioned, but just want to pinpoint that's a really big plus, because if you want some topics to really focus and then get your knowledge in that topic, then you can definitely take it slow a bit notch, and then obviously you can speed it up as quickly as you possibly can, and then get done with it as soon as you want.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I think that's such a crucial point. And, you spoke about speeding up. So people often say to me, how quickly can you move through it? Well, I guess, we do really say that, maybe 6 to 9 months per level. The maximum number of levels you will be doing is 3. For anyone that's sort of got a, accounting qualification, whether that be bachelor's or master's or finance as well, you'll only have 2, so it'll be management and then strategic. So you can move through it pretty quickly, but would say maybe about 2 years is roughly the average. But I've seen people move through it and do the whole course in a year. It is hard going, but people do often ask that question, but we do stress that always try and find a good balance between work, study, and your home life as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's a really flexible qualification and study pathway, which is great. So in terms of sort of the way you're finding it, have you looked at any of the extra resources, or is it just mainly the learning material you've gone through?
So I have enrolled to the Skills Premium program. So when you're studying with Kaplan, they provide you with some of the resources, which is how they tutor it, which the resources which the tutor uses. So again, I feel that material is quite essential, because that does not have any material which overlaps with the FLP, which is already on the FLP platform, but it's something how he explains it and just goes into the depth of it. So I think if you just only refer to these 2, I think you should be fine with it. And referring on the time scale of how long it took. So like you mentioned, everybody takes their own time. For me, I think I'll be progressing with it, and I'll be done with it in the next couple of months. So all in all, the whole qualification only took about 8 months for me, right from sitting for the management case study to I'll be giving the November exam for the strategic case study. So it's only going to take about 6 to 8 months for me. So it really depends how quickly you want to, and how much time you have in your hand, and how much time you want to give it to CIMA, because like you mentioned, you have to maintain different aspects of life as well, right? So that's something.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and it's great to hear that the time frame you're able to do it in. I think it really shows if you're very committed, you can do it as quickly as needed.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of sort of the way you got involved, so you're a finance graduate at Drax. Did they give you a choice of qualifications? And how do you find some of your learning being connected to your day-to-day role? Is there any overlap with that? Do you find it useful?
Oh, definitely useful. So I was talking with my colleagues about this the other day. So I've been really involved into work with treasury, and the strategic level. You do get to learn a lot more about futures and options and hedgings and all the different techniques for risk management. This is sort of the job that I'm currently doing, and which I'm currently studying as well. So really sets well with what you're going to be doing in your day-to-day work. So I think it's more of there are different aspects to it. So like the kind of role that you go into, like if you go into a more strategic role, or if you work in risk management for that matter, there are like different modules in the CIMA FLP course which would be more beneficial to you in the work life. But I think definitely it helps. So even in my FP&A role that I'm currently doing, the last module of the FLP program is on business valuation and acquisition. So that has really helped me crunch some numbers and get a bit of idea of how to do modeling and what are the different methods to do it. So it's always good to have that backing, and when you're studying it and you're working it at the same time, it's definitely adds up to make you a better professional.
Great. No, that's really great to hear. And I think, the real focus on real world application and having that overlap, really helps you, helps you day to day. So it's really good to hear that you're, it's really helping you, I guess, with your job role. Now, in terms of, the next steps, becoming fully qualified, does your workplace have a sort of plan that they put in place? Once you qualify, you move into certain job roles, or do they leave it open to you to make that decision?
So for me, it's very fluid what I want to do. So I have been working as a management accountant for some time now, for the past 6 to 8 months. So I will probably want to continue doing it even after I become a chartered accountant. So that's what the plan is. But for me, it's really fluid. I can go into strategic, or I can go into M&A within the same company, of course. So CIMA, this gives you that right level of flexibility, so you can pick and choose what you want to do after you become a chartered. And because it's just that the wide array of things that you're covering, it's more of strategic focus and more of case study focus, which will actually be required in the job environment, rather than just solving a couple of problems and then getting to the number. I feel at this day and age, getting to the number is pretty easy with ChatGPT and Google everywhere, but having that sense of solving a case study and how do you tackle a problem is what employers are looking for these days. And I think that's what really benefits that's something that will really benefit you as well if you continue on that path.
Yeah, no, that's really fascinating to hear. And the facts that you're finding it very fluid, and some of the skills that you're gaining that employers are looking for, I think is crucially important. And I think you're a real, success story of the finance leadership program. And, it's great to hear that there's a route that you found, because you said you was on the standard route, and this is a lot more flexible. Again, we say that we have the two routes to decide, but I think maximum flexibility definitely sits within the finance leadership program. I think for anyone on the call and people asking specifics about in the chat about their specific programs that they're studying and exemptions and whatnot, what we can do is for each person we can take these questions away, and I can contact you directly after with answers to the questions. Generally, the way it works, the more closely aligned your previous qualifications are, most likely the higher number of exemptions you're going to get. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting accounting from fresh. It does open up a lot of different job roles, as we spoke about on one of the previous slides. Now, in terms of actually entering the program and registering with CIMA, you do need to complete your qualifications at university first in order to gain the exemptions, okay? So what we say is that graduate first. If you've got an employer that's going to sponsor you, that's great. You can generally, register for our website, or we have what we call a firm billing process where your employer gets invoiced directly. So I'm just going to put our website directly through in the chat now. And I will also put my email address. So if anyone's got any questions specific to themselves about their backgrounds and about how to get started, then that's absolutely fine as well, and I'm happy to help. So Abhinav, before we sort of end the webinar, is there anything else that you would like to say to the people? Because I think a lot of people are university students. But one thing I did want to actually just mention firstly is if you're a mature student or you're working part-time, then of course you can still register. It doesn't matter, your age, where you are in your career. This is available to everybody, which I think is really beneficial as well.
Yeah, for sure. I feel just touching on that student point. So while I was doing my degree at University of Leeds, I had a couple of my batchmates who were already enrolled on the CIMA course. So it's it's really comes down to how you want to plan it. I wanted to enroll to CIMA only after I get a job which is relevant to CIMA. So that was my thinking. But if you have already figured it out what you want to do and how you want to take your career forward, then definitely enroll it as soon as you possibly can. Just cuts the time and then gets the degree for you quicker. And yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer any more questions. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or any other platform, and I'm happy to take a couple of questions and even take you through the FLP program. So yeah.
Great. No, thank you so much. I think this has been really, really beneficial, and just want to say thank you for your time. And I hope everybody's found this useful and really been able to see, becoming a chartered accountant is open to everybody. It doesn't matter which background, it's just that with some qualifications, you can do it a little bit quicker. But thank you, everybody, for your time. I am going to hand back now over to my colleague at Target Jobs so we can close the webinar. Thank you.
Very much, Antony. I just wanted to take a moment to give a final thank you to the representatives at CIMA who joined us today, and thank you to all of you who registered and attended the webinar. We hope that you found it very insightful and engaging, and if you're interested in exploring CIMA further, please visit their profile on our Target Jobs website. Thank you everyone, and have a lovely afternoon.